What are the challenges of operating a fully industry-free banking system in a conventional economic environment?
An Islamic bank in in Malaysia is operating in a different way compared to UAE. In Malaysia, they might introduce savings account on Mudaribat, right? But in UAE, they are operating it on say Wakala. The Islamic banking and finance assets globally is around 4 trillion worldwide, and this is growing around 15 to 20% year on year. And suppose after a couple of years, if RBI also wants to introduce this system, they will ask for a practical model. You have Christianity, there's Islam, right? And even in Hinduism, if you see the scriptures or their teaching, if you do a proper in-depth research, in all these scriptures or these religions, usually has been prohibited.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Another interesting session with Mr. Fayis Shingiri, who was the CEO of Taqwa Bank. Now we are going to directly the questions. So we are going to question about what are the challenges of operating a fully industry-free banking system in a conventional economic environment.
So Islamic banking or interest-free banking, as you say, it itself has a lot of challenges,
Sure.
right? The first and foremost, the primary challenge is standardization, right? An Islamic bank in in Malaysia is operating in a different way compared to UAE. For example, an Islamic bank in Malaysia will operate a savings account on a different principle, on a different Islamic principle. Even though there is a standard body called AOFI in Bahrain, they have set the rules, they have set the standards of how you can operate a savings account, right? But different countries or different banks, they implement it in a different way. As I said, in Malaysia, they might introduce savings account on Mudaribat, right? But in UAE, they are operating it on say Wakala, right? So what I'm trying to say is there is no standardization across the Islamic banking and finance industry that savings account should operate like this, or the current account should operate like this. And then you can have multiple fixed deposit products, or suppose the commodity finance or the automobile finance should have this particular Sharia principle only. So this is one big challenge of an Islamic bank anywhere in the world. The standardization is not yet in place, right? Uh, a lot of work has to be done that so that there is a global standard for Islamic banks throughout. The second most challenging part for any Islamic bank is the profit calculation standard, right? How to ascertain the value of any customer or any uh, investors at a given point of time. So what all the current Islamic banking they currently use is an age-old method called the pro rata basis of profit calculation. It's a very old method, very laborious method, right? There is chances of errors and all, right? Uh, but then it is not a justified and a scientific method, right? So the profit calculation standard. So can the profits, suppose for you, if you have opened an account on 2nd of January, and if somebody else has opened an account on 25th of January, it cannot be the same, right? Technically, you should be getting something more because your deposit has been utilized for a more period of time. So the profit calculation, so the pro rata basis gives same profits to all. Either if it is an account open on the 2nd of January or 25th, right? So so this profit calculation standard is not again standardized throughout and in a justified and a more scientific way, right? And one another third biggest challenge of any Islamic banking finance industry here is there is no concrete solution for interbank placements. For example, uh, at a time at a given day, sometimes the bank might fall short of its position at times. So what the conventional bank does is it borrows money from his sister concern, and if the sister concern does not have, they will borrow money for one day from other banks, or if any other bank does not have, they borrow from RBI because they will have to balance out their position at the end of the day. right? So this interbank placement facility among Islamic banks is not available right now. So this is another big challenge here, and another the fourth biggest challenge what we see in an Islamic banking industry is a core Islamic banking software. You know, a lot of a lot of Islamic banks in the developed countries also, they are using the core banking software, the conventional system itself,
Okay.
right? And then on top of that, they have added some patchwork. Okay, put the word profit here, put the word rent here. So it has not been developed from scratch. See, the core banking software is like the backbone of a bank,
Okay.
right? Because it is the technology. Everything revolves. Uh, 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 Basically, all the transactions and all is dependent on this software, right? So a core Islamic banking software has not been built from scratch as such, right? So with all these challenges in place already, it becomes difficult for any Islamic bank to work with other banks also, and its sister concerns also, right? We'll have to address these the challenges first in order to grow globally or nationally initially.
So, what about the opinion about comparing Islamic banking system to the Malaysian Islamic banking system or other Islamic banking system?
Indian, as such, there is no Islamic banking system because the RBI is not allowed. But there in Malaysia, the central government, the government itself, they have completely approved,
Okay.
right? So they do not have any problems in running an Islamic bank. But in India, again, I told you, right, it can only happen through cooperative societies, right? That too, we have to use the words which are legally correct also, right? That's another big challenge, right? So it is not as freely available or as easy to do in India compared to Malaysia.
Okay. Nextly, the question is about can Islamic banking become a global model for ethical finance in the future, and what are the challenges must it overcome to do so?
Definitely, it has already taken a global presence, as I told in my previous answer, that globally around 40% of the countries of the world have introduced Islamic banking finance, either completely like Malaysia, Indonesia, like Saudi, right? Either they have adapted it completely or partially, or some countries they are in the initial stages, the pilot stages. Okay, we'll try it out, and more, and around 60% they have not yet tried it out at all, like India, they do not even want to try it out as such, right? But this Islamic finance, banking and finance industry is the last year reports, whatever what according to my knowledge, it is a 3.8 trillion dollar industry. What do I mean by this? The Islamic banking and finance assets globally is around 4 trillion
Okay.
worldwide, and this is growing around 15 to 20% year on year. And research is also according to the research report which I have seen recently, it is uh, it is targeting for $6 trillion global assets. You understand, the global assets of any Islamic banking or finance institution is around will be around 6 trillion by the year 2030. So it is a very promising and a growing industry, and definitely there's a huge scope for it, right? And moreover, how do we get it globally? How do we introduce things globally? Is primarily, as I said, again the educational awareness, etc. is there. See, and as a community, when we develop this model, right? And suppose after a couple of years, if RBI also wants to introduce this system, they will ask for a practical model, right? So we just cannot go there with the theory. We need something practical. So just like how we are operating, similarly in Kerala, there are another 10 societies like this.
Mm.
Then probably we can go to the central bank or go to the RBI and propose them how this is beneficial for the socio-economic reforms of India as such. Not only, it is not restricted for Muslims, it is beneficial for the entire India. And it can be done. It is not like this is impossible. Let me tell you an interesting fact. The Jews, right? I'm not sure if you have heard this. the Jews are allowed to take interest, but they are not allowed to give interest. Have you heard about it?
Not a,
See, all the religions, all the Abrahamic religions, like Judaism, you have Christianity, there's Islam, right? And even in Hinduism, if you see the scriptures or their teaching, if you do a proper in-depth research, in all these scriptures or these religions, usually has been prohibited, right? And so what I was trying to say is, these Jewish people, right? They take interest, but they are not allowed to give interest, right? So what these people, what they have done is, there is something called there is an agreement they have done with the banks, the big banks of USA, Canada, and Israel. Just because they want money and they cannot take loans from the banks on interest, so they have made an agreement with the big banks,
okay.
the big banks, for them to lend money. And this agreement, you can read about it in Google also. It is called Heter Iska, HETERISKA. It is an agreement between the Jewish people and the bank, that my agreement or my lending should not be based on interest, it should be based on profit and loss sharing, right? Very few people know about this. So how are those people able to introduce it to big banks of USA's and Canada's, right? Because they have always worked for the upliftment of their own community, right? They're and hence they are able to influence these big banks and eventually the World Bank or whatever it is. And a lot of developed countries, right, like again USA, there is Germany, there is Australia, and these are non-Muslim countries. They have also adapted, UK, United Kingdom, they all have also adapted this Islamic banking system.
Okay.
So to affect globally, so to answer your question, this small community, this Jewish community, they have influenced the big banks globally, because they cannot lend money, right? Similarly, we should also be working on influencing the big at least the RBI. Here we are talking about India, right?
Okay.
Initially we can start as a cooperative society and explain the benefits, right? And then with all these unity, a group of different Islamic banking societies, then we can influence the RBI. So once we are able to influence this system nationally, then obviously it can go globally also, right? It should not be a problem. And another main factor again is uh, this should be taken again from the as I said, right, the educational awareness is the core reason actually, right?
Okay. Then the question is about that how to create a more awareness about Islamic banking system for Muslim Ummah, because the Muslim Ummah is completely non-awareness about the Islamic banking system. So
Right.
how can we provide more awareness for Muslim Ummah?
Um, so first and foremost, the awareness is being created in the Muslim Ummah is through the Islamic scholars, right? They are alims, they are muftis, because they are the face of the religion, right?
Prices.
Right. First and foremost, they have to be educated about Islamic banking and finance methodologies, terminologies, and how it works. Once these people they are educated, right, they should also work practically, not only theoretically, right? They should also work practically, uh, by not restricting themselves to mosques or trust or only bayans, etc. They should also come into this field, they should also work practically. And once this starts, right, then they will be able to influence the younger generation about Islamic banking and finance, right? And then slowly gradually, the school going kids, right, for them also it can be slowly introduced, right? So it starts from the alims and the muftis of any community, right? These people should be educated first. So that's how you initially create an awareness. That's what I think. And then second thing, once the ulmas are convinced, then you start creating your own societies,
So okay.
community by community, and you work for the upliftment of your community, right? And then when the money power is in your hand, right, you can influence anybody actually. The big political parties or the governments or anybody. That's how the money power was always there with the Jewish, and they are able to influence anybody, right? That's what we are trying to say is the money power should be kept with our community itself, rather than keeping your money in conventional banks as such. So this is the first basic steps which we can create, and it has to start with the Islamic scholars, ulamas, muftis,
Okay.
right?
Okay, and another question is about what about your Taqwa banking product. So, what product and services and what facilities are providing for people?
Okay, so Taqwa, since it's been almost 10 years, it has started. We have a lot of deposit products through which we get deposits like savings account, current account, fixed deposits, right? And through which here we get the deposits. And what do we do with this money, the public money, the customers money? We give out sharia based finances through which how we earn. We give automobile finance. Suppose if somebody wants a two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, based on the sharia principle, again murabaha, right? And similar to that, again, we have ijara model financing also, the rental model, right? Through which again we earn. And then whatever we earn, we do a profit sharing with the customers, or you can call them investors, right? So apart from these products, we have around 10 deposit products and 10 finance products, right? And technology wise, we are one of the most leading societies in the entire Karnataka, I would say. We have mobile banking facilities for both Android and iPhones, right? We have these safety locker facilities. Um, we have this NEFT RTGS facility. No, we have online account opening facilities. You don't have to come down to the branch to deposit money, or to send money. You can do the transfers anywhere in India, right? From the tip of your fingers, right? Apart from that, um, uh, we do the safety locker facilities I told, right? And we also give out franchises also. If
Okay.
somebody else is interested, we give out franchises. If somebody wants to open up a similar banking model, we facilitate a plug and play model also.
Okay. And okay, so the last and final question is about when I heard about the full details from the Mr. Fayis Shingiri, am completely interested in the Taqwa Islamic finance banking system. So, how we can implement this system in Kerala?
Yeah. So it's pretty simple actually. It's not very rocket science. It's you just have to start. Um, First and foremost is you will have to come up with a license, right? A credit cooperative society license. We will definitely help you or support you in getting a license. It's just a 10 days, 15 days work actually. There's no rocket science again behind that, right? And after that, we provide a complete plug and play model
Hmm.
for you. You don't have to do anything. So what is the major thing? What you have to do, you just have to raise capital. For any society or any financial institution to work, you need a capital, right? To start off, because you need to cover up your expenses and all. So at least 2 crores of capital is required to be raised from your community. And next, once you're able to get the trust from the people, or you are from the like-minded people, you are able to raise around 2 crores. Then you will have to also set up a professional advisory board or a Sharia advisory board also, because these are the people who are the faces of your community, right? People trust these faces. So a professional advisory board has to be set up. And then apart from that, you don't have to do anything. It is just, as I said, it is just a plug and play model. We will help you with all the setups. uh,
Accessories.
Even the withdrawal slip, deposit slips, stamps and all, you don't have to do anything, right? The operational part, the logistics part, we can take care of everything, right? So the first thing is the niyat should be there. It should be a sincere niyat, innama a'malu binniyat, right? Because you want to work for the upliftment of your community. It's not like the money I will utilize it, I will get a big finance or something, right? The niyat should be good. And then again, the raising capital, licensing is a very simple part. Then again, you will have a complete support from day one, right? If you anybody wants a training on Islamic banking and finance, or how to operate this thing, it's pretty, all these things will be taken care. You don't have to worry about that at all. Right.
Okay, so our interview is going to conclusion. So the Mr. Fayis Shingiri had answered almost full questions completely very well, and I am fully satisfied. So I am giving my thanks from my side and my
Thank you
department
so much.
side. Okay, we can see later, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
Jazakallah khair.